There are 3 resources in your life that can make a whole of a difference in your career as an interpreter and in your life as a human being. And these 3 resources are always available to you. And guess what? These 3 resources give you a lot of agency. It may seem sometimes they are out of our control, but that is an illusion. And today, I want to share with you a couple of pointers for each one of these resources so that we can get an awareness of how we are using or misusing these resources in our careers and personal lives. Interpreters, are you ready? Let's dive in. Let's start by telling you what those 3 resources are. They are time, energy, and money. Yeah. And here's the thing. When one of those is off balance, as in it's not working for me, as in it's giving me a lot of stress and anxiety, then all the other resources are off as well. Let's start with time. And I want to start with time because of all those 3. Time is the least tangible. You cannot really see it or touch it, yet it's always in our head. In fact, time is a construction of our mind. And we have invented clocks and calendars to tell us what time we should eat, what time we should go to sleep, and also when we are late for something, right? So clocks and calendars are a human invention. They give us the illusion that we can control time, but they are not the only way in which we can manage our time, maximize our time, or make the most of our time. When we look at our lives in relation to time, we have clocks, we have calendars, we have timetables, we have spreadsheets, right? And they are all good, and they are all necessary, and they are all geared to compartmentalized time and to remind us of deadlines. Remind us of our milestones, remind us of our goals, the goals that we should have gotten to already, and they are all good and they are very important, but not when they run our life. They are not supposed to run our life. They're just supposed to support our projects, our tasks. And here's the thing I want you to know about projects and tasks. They are not our life. And definitely they are not who we are. They are just the things that help us create the lives that we want, the lives that we dream of. Somehow, at some point, projects and tasks and timetables and calendars and schedules, spreadsheets, all of them, at some point, they take over our lives. And they are not there anymore to serve us. When they take over our lives, we become their servants, their slaves. And that, my friend, it is not a good thing. How is all this landing with you? Okay, so here comes the first pointer for time. I want you to really think about this first pointer. Just reflect on that. How am I enslaved to time? In which ways I am a slave to my timetables, to my calendar, to my spreadsheet? The second pointer about time is that right now, if you looked at your calendar right now and being totally honest and open and in a very intuitive and candid way, if you looked at your calendar right now, can you figure out where in your calendar you have some events or spots that you have marked as time for relaxation, as time when you are just there, whatever you are going to chill down, not to perform, not to conform, not to produce, just to chill down and to be yourself. Can you see in your calendar any event that sounds like that? If it's available, you can put your answer to my questions in the comments below this video. How many events can you count from Monday to Friday in which it's time for you to relax? Also, I want you to look at how many open spaces you have in your calendar where nothing is scheduled. If you found some, give yourself a little pat on the back. Even if you have one, it counts. And next, think, how can I have more empty space in my calendar? What are the scenes that need to be moved around so that I can have more empty space in my calendar? And how can I have more events also that are relaxing events in my calendar? Let these questions sink in. If there are no relaxation or empty slots in your calendar, at least get one in your calendar per week. That's a very good beginning. The next resource available to you is energy. And we can say that energy is not tangible, but it manifests in our day-to-day language. Like when we say, I am totally tired and drained. Or when we say, I am so full of energy. Or I'm so not having any energy right now. So my first pointer about energy is to become aware of when in your day you find these extremes in relation to your energy. When in your day you are like supercharged, full of energy, and when in your day you feel like totally, completely devoid of energy. Extremes are not good for balance. And there must be some fluctuation in our energy during the day. That is normal when it comes to energy. So let me start by saying that energy lives in your body, right? Your body is the container of your energy. So your body shapes the way this energy manifests, right? Like if you're full of energy, you're like standing upright and cheerful. If you are not very energetic, you might be feeling a little bit grouchy and maybe not looking very happy, right? So our bodies manifest the levels of energy that we have at any given moment during the day. And here's my first pointer. Can you tell when during the day you feel any extremes in terms of or in relationship to your energy? Like super fired up or super tired. So just take a moment just to think about it. When during your day you are super energized or totally, completely drained. And where you are when this is happening, with whom you are when this is happening, and what is happening when this is happening, right? What are the circumstances surrounding you being super energized or you being very, very tired? Years ago, I noticed that I will have an energy crash in the afternoon, around 3 or 4 in the afternoon. And eventually, I realized that many times when this happened, when I had this crash, when I would crash, my energy would be totally low. It would be on days when I skipped lunch, when I didn't have lunch. Right? So those days when I didn't have lunch or I skipped lunch, I will have this very big crash mid-afternoon, and I will have to be trying to grab whatever caffeine and sugar was at hand to keep myself going. Can you relate to that? So once I started having better lunches, that is, I'm having really lunch, have some vegetables and some protein and hydrate, those crashes dwindle. And I cannot tell you that it's perfect. There are many times that I do crash in the middle afternoon, but I know why it is. It's because I didn't have a lunch break where I ate, where I rested, where I hydrated myself. And that's what it causes it. So I know what causes it, but life happens, and sometimes it's not possible to have the perfect lunch time that we all want and need. So it's very important for us to know when our highs and when our lows are happening. These are signs that something is happening inside our physical body, that some need has not been met in our physical body. Second pointer about energy is find a solution to these extremes, right? At some point, I had my cortisol levels tested, and the chart showed that my cortisol would spike up around 10 p.m. at night. Anybody relates to that? Yeah, the 10 p.m. rush of energy that we get is because our cortisol is very high when it should be low. Yeah. So it's 10 p.m. and you're like, I'm going full in. Here's the sin. Your body is producing energy, right? At that time. It is part of your energy cycle. However, this energy is not meant for you to work, to spend this energy working. This energy is to regenerate your organs. And that's why if we go to sleep around 10 or before 10 p.m., we fall asleep. And that energy is used by our body to regenerate our tissues and organs, to reset our whole physical body and as well as our mental body. So when cortisol is high at 10 p.m., relaxing and going to sleep is going to be really difficult. And you will steal this precious energy that your body needs to restore the optimal functioning in your body. You're going to use that energy, you're going to steal the energy, and you're going to use it for work or maybe to binge in Netflix or something like that. And at some point in our lives, our body gets very weak. It stops being so resilient and it gets sick. We get sick. That's how it works, right? So if you start looking at those extremes of energy in your body and how your body manifests them during the day, you can also start, that's the second pointer, do something about it. And I know you can find a solution for that because you, my friend, you are very bright. Yes. And now we come to our third resource, which is money. Chin, 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 chin. I used to have a friend who hated me when I used to say chin, 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 chin. And maybe because it's like so loud, right? The loud part of money is so forward. And many of us were not forward about money. Money is something that we hide. Money is something that we don't like to talk about, right? Money is even something that feels shameful to speak about or even share about. And the reasons for that, well, there's a whole theory of why this happens, of why money can be such a big taboo in our society, in our culture, in our families. And I'm not going to dive into that, not today, but this is what I want you to think about money today. And here's my first pointer for money. I want to take a hot minute and really, really think of this question. Are you looking at your numbers? Yeah, I mean your bank account numbers. I mean your daily balance in your bank accounts. Are you looking at your numbers? And by this I don't mean that you have to be obsessed, like looking every 5 minutes and make sure there is money and what the money is doing. But maybe 5 minutes every other day, or 5 to 10 minutes every other day, if you're looking really at the money that is coming in, the money that is going out, what expenses are coming up. And I want you to I want you to also take a moment and think of how do you feel when you do it. The times when you look at your money. What is your emotional state? What is your mindset when you do it? Are you doing it and feeling stressed or anxious, even though there is money? Or maybe because there is no money, or maybe because you don't know is there money or not, right? How are you feeling about looking at your numbers, right? I want to tell you that I have always been very bad about doing this, very bad. And in recent years, I've been trying to get good, get good at it, and it's hard for many reasons. And those reasons have to do with my upbringing, with the beliefs I have about money, and also maybe some kind of trauma related to money. So if you're good at keeping track of your numbers, give yourself a little pat on the back. Yes. If you are not doing that, give yourself a little pat on the back and tell yourself, I will try. I will try. And the next thing that you do when you try is to sense into how you feel about this, how you feel about looking at your numbers. Second pointer about money. And this is very, this might be very something that you find familiar, maybe not, but I would like you to think about in your freelance career, or maybe as a full-time position as an interpreter, when are the times, or what makes you feel undervalued or underpaid? Right? Who are the clients? What are the assignments that make you feel underpaid or undervalued? And this is not about any kind of thing in the logical way, right? It's about the feelings, the sensations that you have when you work for certain clients or when you do certain type of assignments? Do you feel that you are not paid what you want? And I want you to be really, really honest with yourself in regard to this, and take a really good look at the clients you have and how much they pay you. And if there is any place you are going to work that triggers thoughts like, I really don't want to come here. I'm not paid enough for this. This is a waste of my time. Right? Those thoughts, if they are familiar, right? I want you to know that the money that you are receiving for assignments that trigger that kind of feelings in you or thoughts in you, that's toxic money. The money that you are receiving for a job that you don't want to do, that makes you feel undervalued or underpaid, is toxic money. And here's the thing, my friends. This toxic money, receiving this toxic money, affects your psyche and also affects your energy. So just take a very, very good look at that. And those are my 3 resources and the pointers I wanted to give you to start really diving into how you manage your time, energy, and money, which are the resources that are the pillars of our abundance as human beings, as professionals. And as I said before, when one of them is off, all of them are off. Yeah, I know it by experience. And as I continue talking about your abundance and these 3 pillars in the next few weeks, you will start also having that impression and understanding that. So let's sum up. For time, first, reflect on how are you being enslaved to time. In which ways you are an slave to your calendar, your spreadsheet, your timetable. And second, take a look at your calendar and see if there are any events that are relaxing events or any spots that are free open in your calendar. And if there are none, do something about it. Now, for energy. Pointers for energy. When do you feel at your maximum energy and when you feel at your lowest energy? And can you observe what are the circumstances surrounding these 2 extremes? When you are very hyper and when you are very, very low in energy. What are the circumstances surrounding these 2 extremes? And pointers for money. Are you looking at your numbers? And it doesn't have to be every day, but are you looking at them? And when you are looking at the numbers in your bank account, how do you feel about this? You are invited to write answers to those questions in the comments below this video, if it's available. But there will be plenty of opportunity for us to keep pounding this on these 3 resources. And the second pointer for money is there any client or assignment that makes you feel underpaid or undervalued? And is that leading to you receiving toxic money? And this is causing some kind of distress in your psyche and in your emotions and in your mind. Dear interpreters, at this time in your life, growth is possible. But in order to grow, we have to make the most of these 3 resources: time, energy, and money. So, do this. Number 1, go to the link below and click to watch Kate Northrup's podcast. It's a super, super hot podcast How to increase your income without increasing pressure. So you can find the link below. And the second thing to do is join my list so you can start receiving my spring newsletter, Your Season of Abundance, where I will be writing about all these topics in much more detail. See you soon.